Welcome, you Aries people, for your yearly horoscope for 2020. I want to have this very early, actually, spreading out the information over there. Of course, it's a very general look, but I hope you will be able to do something with it. And I want to make it a bit precise but also concise, not too elaborated, because then it's all over the place, the information. And what a year it's going to be for you, Aries. What a year for you. 2020 is definitely very important for Aries people. Why is that? For everyone it's different, but for Aries people, you are going to have your ruler Mars. Mars is your ruler, and normally it's 6 weeks in a certain sign, and then it shifts 6 weeks in another sign. It's going to be 6 months in your sign. So that is huge, and that is very special indeed. What does it mean? It means that approximately from July and onwards until the end of December of 2020, Mars will be in your sign. So, and the degrees, of course, every Aries will feel that, having Mars in your sign. I'll explain in a minute what it means. But there are some Aries people who are going to feel it more. And these are the people who've got planets between 28 degrees of Aries and between 15 degrees of Aries, because these are the points where Mars stops and turns backwards and so on. I'll explain that in the monthly horoscopes. So if you have your sun sign in Aries, that will be the people who were born round about, let's say, the between the 4th of March. What am I saying? Not March. Excuse me, mea culpa. I mean, yeah, the 4th and the 5th of April, up until the end of your sign, so which will be up until the 19th, the 20th of April. So, in particular, 15 degrees is around 5th of April, and 28 degrees is around 17, 18, 19th of April. These people will feel it the most. I give those degrees because you will feel it very strongly if you have your sun sign there, or your moon, or your rising sign, which is your ascendant. Now, what does it mean? It means that between July and December, if you as an Aries person want to start something new, no matter what, that has to do with your life path, whether it is a relationship, whether it is a new job that you want to start, whether it is a new business that you want to start, a new project, anything new and fresh is fantastic, because a Mars retrograde, although it will go forwards and backwards again, and people think, oh, when it goes retrograde, it's wrong. No, it means that you've got extra time to implement something, and it just demands a lot of courage, Mars, and a lot of drive and a lot of energy, but a lot of I can't put it in another word, courage. So I remember when Mars was so long in my sign, when it went retrograde, also for like a period of 6 months, I started my astrology. So, but starting something that is huge for you in particular, you don't do that overnight. You think about it, and then you adjust yourself, and then you do something, but you think it's not really 100%, so I'm gonna adjust it. So expect something to happen there for you as well. Of course, it's in your sign, so it also can have to do with health. So make sure, because Mars is in your sign, normally that gives a lot of energy. So if you are that kind of Aries who's saying, I'm not having energy at all to do something new, you will get a lot of energy. Unless, of course, I mean, these are general horoscopes when it's like, making points to Saturn, for instance, in your horoscope or whatnot. But that's for individual horoscopes. Now, talking about Saturn, the fact here that Mars goes backwards and forwards in those degrees, it's gonna hit Saturn and Pluto. And that's a tough aspect. But again, that shows that the thing that you want to do demands a lot of effort, demands a lot of persistence, demands a lot of courage and a lot of discipline. So if you're not afraid of that, then this is going to give you a tremendous award at the end of the ride, which will be at the end of December, sorry. So Mars will hit Jupiter, so your ruler Mars will hit Jupiter, it will hit Pluto, it will hit Saturn, it will hit all those a bit slower planets throughout the year. But what is so significant is that during the time August, October and December, which is a long time of course, that Mars will be squaring up as well towards Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto. And that is a good thing because it's together with Jupiter. So it's like Saturn and Pluto were the builders of the zodiac, so to speak. So what is not good, it kind of demolished it, or how do you say that? And then Jupiter is like faith, and it has a new fresh air, so to speak. So the combination of those three, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, all in your highest point of your horoscope, which will be a lot of you, it will be work. It will be, for those of you who don't work, it is about your how you want to deal with society, how you want to be seen by society, your role in the society, whether that is a mother, whether that is a CEO, whether it is an astrologer, it doesn't matter. It's your position in the world. And there is something that is rebuilding itself. Of course, first of all, has to do with the breaking down, but that already happened, and it's still gonna happen because I'm making these videos in October. It's still gonna happen for a part in December and in January, when we have the eclipses in those signs still of Capricorn and Cancer. So there's still some letting go of old energy for you in particular when it comes to work. But the hardest thing is already over. The hardest thing was when Saturn was with the South Node, and that's not going to come back again now in 2020. So you did the hardest thing of wanting to change a certain part of your work. For those of you who don't work, wanting to change a certain part of your personality, how you are seen in this world. And with Jupiter in Capricorn for the whole year, at the highest point of your horoscope, it shows as well that you can rebuild your image, you can rebuild something that is not that easy to do. That's why Mars is so long in your sign. Mars for having 6 months rather than 6 weeks. That means something. That means that you need that energy to, so don't worry about the length of time and about the retrogrades and so on. It is a sign that you will get time. And you will see that when Mars goes direct again, that you will feel that things are indeed shifting and that are now going forwards for those areas that I actually just mentioned. So around the midst already of November, well, already, that's the end of the year, but you will see those changes happening. Oh, I don't want to make these videos too long, and I'm seeing it's already just one aspect so long. Anyways, but that's the most important thing for you, for the Aries people, that you've got so much time to reinvent yourself, basically. And again, when it comes to your health, make sure, because you are an Aries, make sure that you can, with Mars squaring up to Pluto and all of that, and Saturn, make sure that you're not putting your anger on an inner level. So make sure that you work out, make sure that you go to the fitness or whatever, or that you go running, something that demands quite a lot of energy when you feel frustrated, because you are going to feel frustrated every now and then with these energies, but these are there to keep yourself going and to do something that demands, as I said, quite a lot of impact and a lot of your time and a lot of your attention there. So this is pretty good. Now, another thing for the other planets for you, I'm not going to emphasize that too much. Like Uranus is in your second house, that's for the whole year. So yes, when it comes to your income, that might be a bit of an up and a down. The same for your self-worth, feeling 1 week very confident and the other week a bit less. So that's a bit the same. Having Neptune in your 12th house is fantastic to have that connection with your unconsciousness, to have that rest, to have that reloading of the batteries every now and then. So that is all good and well. When it comes to relationships, there's not that much drastic going on. The whole thing is more about your career. So if you're someone who wants to change the career, it's definitely in this year. But when it comes to love, there is we watch Venus, of course, and Venus will be also going retrograde and a pretty long time in your third house, the house of thinking. So you're going to be thinking a lot about love, and the time that it goes retrograde for you is around between April and the first week of August. Then Venus will be going for a long time in your third house. So for those of you who are looking for love, do it through the third house, which is communication, internet, workshops. So if you want to meet someone, again, that the Venus goes backwards and forwards doesn't necessarily mean that someone comes back into your life. What I see, in my humble opinion, with experience with those retrogrades, is that you put a little bit more effort there in that particular house. So yes, it's a good time for you to study something new around that time. It's a good time to go to a workshop, to meet new people. For you, the Venus retrograde is going to be a quite exciting one, because Venus will be in Gemini, and that goes well with your sign. So the retrogrades of Mars and Venus that don't happen every year are actually for you pretty good. Although a bit stressful with the Mars in your sign with Saturn and Pluto, but it has a reason. So the thing is, when you have those squares with Saturn and Pluto, it's like Jupiter comes along then and gives you that sort of meaning. So you know why you're working so hard, because it has to do with purpose. Jupiter is purpose, and isn't purpose very important nowadays? So that's the basic thing. That's the basic thing. There's also going to be a shift in the North Node and the South Node. So the South Node and the North Node will be now in that area of Gemini that I just talked about, where Venus is going retrograde. So for those of you who are looking for love, that with the Venus conjunct the North Node as well, that will be an interesting time, by the way. Venus with the North Node. That particular time is interesting for you to meet someone new, and that also has to do with that will be around the 5th and the 6th of August, by the way, if you're interested. So meeting new people in your environment, by connecting with others, by connecting through the internet, there you will find a lot of joy and enjoyment. Also, if you have your own business, this is good for websites and PR and all of that. So it could be, you could be dealing with changing that or wanting to improve that, all that kind of stuff. So a pretty interesting year for you, very transformative year. Because we're going to have the big builders like Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto. We're going to have that all coming together, which is quite rare. So when Jupiter and Pluto comes together at the very beginning of the year, the 12th of January, Jupiter and the South Node come together at the beginning of the second week of January. So that means, again, very much, it's not Saturn now, but Jupiter. So that's like karmic gifts, you could say. And Jupiter is going to conjoin with Pluto at the end of March, end of June, and in November. So for you, again, lots of opportunities on a work level, on the level that you want to mean something for the world. Your Mars, you will be in Capricorn as well during February and March. So these months, February, March, are very important to work hard if you want to work hard on the level of changing your work and your position there. When it comes to dealing with bosses, government and all of that, Mind you that you have to do everything by the rules, because Mars is going to aspect with Saturn and all of that, and you don't want to do things that you are not allowed to do when that is happening, because it's gonna backfire, especially with Mars conjunct Pluto on the end of March. Having said that, it's going to be your year, dear Aries people. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to have a reading, get in touch and have a splendid year. Bye-bye.